It's playoff time. There's no better way of starting a new year in 2019 than with my NFL playoff predictions. Before we get started, join our community, our football community here at the Bottom Line View by subscribing. Also, Gronk, spike that like button and comment below your opinion on who will reach and win Super Bowl 53. Here we go. Let's start on the AFC side of the bracket with the Houston Texans and the Indianapolis Colts. An AFC South showdown, 3 versus 6 for the third time this season. This game to me is the most fascinating of the AFC Wildcard. I really think that this game could change the entire path of the AFC playoffs. Houston is much better at home. They're 6-2 this season at home, but one of their losses did come against the Colts. Both games were extremely close. As you remember, if the Colts didn't go for it on fourth down in overtime and refused to take the tie, they might have won, they might have tied, but the Texans certainly wouldn't have beaten them this season. The Texans, on the other hand, lost that other game against the Colts, and the Colts have dominated the line of scrimmage in these games. The Colts have had 5 sacks and 7 sacks in both matchups. In NFL history, no quarterback in the playoffs has been sacked more than Deshaun Watson. So that's an issue. The Texans need to block up front to win this game and to go far in the playoffs. Andrew Luck against the Texans this season, 464 yards, 399 yards. He's been lighting up the skies against the Texans secondary. 6 touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton is the guy that really destroys the Texans. 199 yards, 115 yards. These two guys, this combination has been a pain for the Texans defense, and they need to focus on taking away T.Y. Hilton and stopping Andrew Luck. The Texans passing offense, to me on the other side, is just extremely simple. When I watch the tape of their last game, Colts-Texans, I really see a Colts defense that knows what the Texans want to do in the passing game, and they were all over everything. If they can stop and slow down DeAndre Hopkins, that's going to go a long way to winning this football game. I believe in Frank Reich. I believe in the number 1 third down offense. I believe in Andrew Luck. I believe in Deshaun Watson as well, but once you get past the top 4 or 5 players for the Texans, the Colts are a deeper team. They're pretty underrated, and if Clowney and Watt can dominate, maybe it changes things and the Texans can win, but I'm going with Andrew Luck and the Colts 27-23 to pick up the upset. The Baltimore Ravens versus the LA Chargers, 4 versus 5. To me, this was one that I kept flip-flopping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The Chargers, any other year, would have a bye. The Ravens kind of got a little lucky that the Pittsburgh Steelers kind of collapsed at the end of the season, and they made it into the playoffs. The Baltimore Ravens, to me, are a horrible matchup for the LA Chargers. The LA Chargers were dominated in their first game against the Ravens. The Ravens dominated. They held the Chargers to a total of 198 yards. Rivers was sacked 5 times, and he also threw 2 interceptions because he was under a ton of duress. Chargers, the thing I don't like about their matchup with the Ravens is they can't handle all the big people the Ravens have. The Ravens love to pound the football down a team's throat. And the Chargers are not a team that are built on size. They're built on speed. They only play 1 linebacker regularly in their base defense. They play 3 safeties a ton. So that's not a good matchup against a power running football team like the Ravens. So they're going to need to commit to stopping the run. The way I would do this is the Chargers should rely on their good secondary to match up one-on-one with the Ravens receivers and force Lamar Jackson to make accurate down the field throws. So they're going to have to load the box and take away the run. One big thing in this matchup is the Chargers have not been good in the first quarter. They've been outscored 98-78 in the first quarter this season. So you need to get a lead against the Ravens to enable a passing situation for Lamar Jackson. If you're getting behind the Ravens are going to be able to play that style of game and force you to get in a grinded out contest, which you don't want if you're the Chargers. The Chargers have been really good on the road, 7-1 on the road. Ravens are also really good at home, 6-2 at home. The Chargers, I don't like the fact that they give up 4.5 yards per attempt on the road on the ground. They need to get better there. The Baltimore Ravens, they're second in passer rating at home. But there's something about the Chargers that I think the Chargers will be able to make adjustments in this game. I do think their defense will step it up and stop the run better. I think this is going to be a really close game, and I went back and forth, but I think the Chargers will pull it out. And it's because Phillip Rivers is going to make plays at the end of the game to get them to win this football game. Whether that's from behind, whether that's in the fourth quarter tied, it doesn't matter. Phillip Rivers, his advantage over Lamar Jackson in the passing game is the difference for me in this game. 20-17 Chargers. I think the Chargers learn from the last game they played against the Ravens, which was very recently, and they pick it up and they play better. So we move on to the divisional round. The number 1 seed Kansas City Chiefs take on the number 6 seed underdog Indianapolis Colts. This game would be crazy. High scoring shootout. This game I think would be closer than a lot of people would expect. Is Sammy Watkins back? That's a big question for me. If Sammy Watkins cannot play in the playoffs, I don't think the Chiefs can really make this run. But if he's there, I think they're the favorite to make it to the Super Bowl in the AFC. The two coaches, Frank Reich, Andy Reid, very similar offenses, so I think they'll have a good grasp of what each other wants to do. You have Luck versus Mahomes. In my opinion, the two best quarterbacks in the NFL this season. I know a lot of people would say Drew Brees. I'm going Andrew Luck and Mahomes. That's just me personally. Chiefs have not won a home playoff game since 1994. They need to crack that code. The Colts, if they would have beat the Texans, they would have won 9 out of 10. So right now they're 8 out of 9. If they beat the Texans in the Wildcard, they would be 9 out of 10 heading to Kansas City. The key to this game will be that the Colts can run the ball. If the Colts can run the ball and they can control the pace of play, they can win this game. There's 2 big-time mismatches for both defenses. Who covers T.Y. Hilton for the Chiefs? I think he's going to have a big day in this game. And who covers Travis Kelce for the Colts? The Colts are terrible against tight ends. They've allowed the most catches and yards to tight ends this season. So that's not a good thing if you're a Colts fan. I think weather will probably be a factor here, and that will help the Chiefs. Kansas City's passer rating at home is much better on defense, which makes me believe that their defense can make a couple plays in this game to win the game. 76.7 passer rating, which it's over 100 on the road. On the other hand, since week 11, the Colts have been really good on defense. Since week 7, they're number 1 in scoring defense, and since week 11, they've allowed an average of 12.2 points and a third down rate of 37%. Overall, when looking at everything, I think the Chiefs would take this game 30-27 in a very close shootout game that I think would be super exciting, but I'm going with the home team, the Chiefs. On the other side, we have the New England Patriots versus the LA Chargers. Phillip Rivers has never beat Tom Brady, including 2 playoff games. I believe this is another bad matchup for the Chargers on paper. That is because the Patriots, like the Ravens, want to pound the football down your throat and then hit play action. The difference here is that Tom Brady can make the throws and can hit his receivers and has more weapons at his disposal than Lamar Jackson. The Patriots also have a really good secondary full of guys who I think can play really good man coverage against the Chargers receivers. I think this is going to be a grinded out kind of game. I think the Chargers secondary also matches up very well with the Patriots wide receivers on the other side. But if the Chargers do struggle to stop the Patriots rushing attack, I do think that will lend them to giving up some big plays down the field, down the seams, and the crossers that Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels love. I think it would be a more defensive game than a lot of people think. The Patriots are also amazing at home. They are 8-0, the only team in the NFL to go 8-0. I would make it 9-0. I think the Patriots would beat the Chargers here 24-17. The Patriots average 32 points at home, so that's drastically lower than They're average at home, and they're also fourth best against quarterbacks at home on defense in terms of passer rating. So the defense plays better at home, the offense plays better at home. They're just a better team at home. The Patriots advance because I think their power run game would just be too much for the Chargers, and I think their secondary is good enough to slow down the Chargers offense. So the Patriots and the Chiefs would play in the AFC Championship game, and I think this game would be amazing, and I think these two teams are the best two teams in the AFC. The Patriots did win the first matchup. You remember it was on Sunday Night Football, 43-40, and it was at home. It was a wild game, but the Patriots thoroughly dominated that game in terms of possession, yards, first downs. They had 31 first downs, 500 yards. There was only one punt all game. They forced 2 interceptions for the Chiefs. They had the ball for 36 minutes. They were up 24-9 at one point in that game. But the Chiefs still made it really close. And that's the thing about the Chiefs. The Chiefs can strike very quickly. And when you have a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, you have a receiver like Tyreek Hill, it's almost ungame planable. Like, you can't have Bill Belichick just put a perfect defense together that can slow down this offense. So that is going to be the difficult part of this game for New England, is that it's so hard to scheme for these players. But the Chiefs are 3-3 in their last 6, and they haven't looked as great as they were at the beginning of the year. Two things are different from that game. Kareem Hunt is not here. He's not playing. And Josh Gordon is also not there. So on both sides, you're missing a weapon. And Kareem Hunt has killed the Patriots. In both games, the Chiefs have played the Patriots the last 2 seasons. The Kareem Hunt show has been real. Damian Williams has proven to be decent, but I don't think he's Kareem Hunt. And when you go back to that first game, there was multiple 70-yard touchdowns by the Chiefs. I don't think that's going to happen twice. There was a long kick return to set up another touchdown and a Kansas City strip sack to set up another touchdown. So Kansas City, in a way, was very explosive in that game, and that's kind of the way they are. But it was a little lucky as well to hang in that game. But I'm going with the Chiefs. And I'm not going with the Chiefs because I believe in the Chiefs. More so, I think that the Patriots are just not good on the road. I think defensively, when you look at it, 2 things have changed. Eric Berry is there, so that can allow them to just single man up Rob Gronkowski, and especially this year, Gronk is probably not going to win that matchup, so that helps the Chiefs a lot. J.C. Jackson for the Patriots is a big upgrade at corner, which will help them cover Tyreek Hill along with Stephon Gilmore. I think the defenses will be better in this game. I think at home, Kansas City is just going to be a little bit too much. The Patriots, their secondary, like I said, is really good. They'll have to control the clock again, run the ball again, and Brady can make some plays. It will be a close game, but the Chiefs, I think, just at home, the Patriots have been horrible on the road. They have a horrible road record, and I can't believe them to go into Kansas City and win this football game because they haven't really done it all year against a great team outside of Chicago. So I'm going with the Chiefs to advance to the Super Bowl, but I think this game would be down to the wire, very exciting. I have the Chiefs winning 27-24 over the evil empire Patriots, and Mahomes would go to his first Super Bowl, and Andy Reid would go to another Super Bowl. On the NFC side of things, looking at the NFC bracket, the 4 versus the 5, the Dallas Cowboys versus the Seattle Seahawks. These 2 teams did play this season, but it was super early in the season. The Hawks won 24-13. It was in Seattle, and the one thing I can take away from that game is the Seahawks ran the ball a lot. 102 yards, 1 touchdown on a lot of carries, 3.2 yards per carry. So it wasn't overly efficient, but they just ran it and ran it and ran it and worked over the Cowboys' defensive line. Zeke did also run the football very efficiently, 16 times for 127 yards, 7.9 yards per carry. This game will be decided up front. The Hawks have the number 1 run game in the NFL, but the Cowboys also have a great run game, number 6 in the NFL. The Cowboys rank 5th versus the run, but are even better at home, 3rd versus the run at home. The Hawks are 16th versus the run overall, but on the road, 11th. So better on the road for some weird reason, I don't know why. Russell Wilson is much better than Dak. He's magical at times, and Dak does need to make some throws to win this game. but I believe he will make a couple throws. I believe the Cowboys will win this game. And the reason why I believe they'll be able to win this game is because I think they'll run it more efficiently, and the Cowboys are a much better team at home. They're 7-1 at home. The Hawks are a much worse team on the road. They are 4-4 on the road. And I think that matters a ton in this matchup. I'm going with the Cowboys 23-16. Their pass rush will get after Russell Wilson. They'll run the football and win this game. The Bears versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This is going to be a good one. Nick Foles isn't going down without a fight. Fletcher Cox isn't going down without a fight. And we know Doug Peterson will call something crazy. This game will be one up front as well. The Bears defense is first in passer rating at home with 70.3 passer rating this season. The Eagles, this run for their Super Bowl hope starts on the road, unlike last season where they got to play in front of their home crowd. That's a big difference maker there. There's similar weather for the Eagles in this environment in Chicago, so they'll be used to that. The Bears do need to take advantage of the Eagles' corners to win this game. The Eagles are 32nd versus the pass. They need to make plays. Mitch Trubisky needs to make a few throws in this game to win. Will Nick Foles have a miracle? Possibly. Do I trust Mitch Trubisky? I don't really know. But I do believe in the Bears defense more so than the Eagles defense. I do believe in the Bears special teams more so than the Eagles special teams. I think there's one or two plays there that the Bears will make with Tariq Cohen. And I also think that the Bears are a more balanced team running and passing the ball. I think the Bears can run the ball better than the Eagles. And I think the Eagles will make it a close game. They'll muck it up. But I think the Bears will win at home 20-13. In the NFC Divisional round, we're looking at the 2 versus the 3, the Rams versus the Bears. The Bears beat the Rams 15-6, and that was recently. They forced a safety in that game. They had 4 interceptions. They limited Gurley to 28 yards rushing. The Bears defense was all over the Rams. But this game is going to be in LA, and that was the first game back for Trubisky. Remember, he had 3 interceptions. He looked pretty off. But the positive thing for the Bears was they ran the football and they possessed the football. 170 yards, 36 minutes of possession. And if Trubisky could have hit a couple of those throws, that game would have been an absolute blowout. The Rams are a big play defense and they need to force turnovers once again to win this game. They score 35.6 points at home, which is way better than on the road. I think that's a Jared Goff thing. They only scored 28 points on the road where they played the last game against the Bears. This time, 35.6 at home. The Rams also do give up more points at home, 8 more points at home for some reason. I think it's concerning for Rams fans that their run defense is 31st versus the run at home. Because I think the Bears can do what they did in the first game. Run the football, possess the clock, and make plays on defense. And that's why I'm going with the Bears. The Bears haven't lost since week 7 with Mitch Trubisky. The Rams have lost 2 of 5 in December. The Bears are the better team at this moment, and I think they'll get the upset 24-20. Now, on the opposite side of things, we have the Cowboys versus the Saints. The Cowboys did beat the Saints. Remember, on Thursday Night Football, Week 13, 13-10 at home. Remember, though, Dak Prescott was sacked 7 times. And Dallas's defense suffocated Drew Brees. He had nowhere to go. He was under a lot of pressure. And Michael Thomas was taken out of the game. Alvin Kamara was taken out of the game. The Dallas defense is the worst matchup for the Saints offense in the entire NFL. They have speed, they have coverage, they have linebackers. And they're a perfect matchup for the Saints defense. But this game is going to be at home. So that is tougher for Dallas to travel. And I think the Saints, because they are so potent at home, scoring 37 points at home, I just think they're too much. But the big thing here is that the Saints, they can stop the run. If the Cowboys are able to run the ball, it's a totally different story. But because the Saints are number 1 on defense versus the run, and the Cowboys only score 14 points on the road per average, you can't beat the Saints like that. So I'm going with the Saints to win this game pretty handily here, 27-17 in a big revenge game at home against the Cowboys. In the NFC Championship, we have the Saints versus the Bears. Defense versus offense. The Bears linebackers versus Alvin Kamara is going to be fascinating. I think if the Bears have to win, they need to tackle quick. They need to take Dallas's game plan and implement it. When you look at the outside, Fuller versus Thomas is going to be a key matchup. I think the Saints can stop the run and force Trubisky to beat them, which is going to be key. Can Mitch make those big plays and take advantage of that secondary? If he does, we're talking about a Nick Foles last year scenario where the Bears are a lot like that Eagles team. And if they can do a couple of things and the quarterback can step up, they can go on to win the Super Bowl. I do believe that. But in this game, what's most likely to happen? When we look at the most successful quarterback this year against the Chicago Bears, it was Tom Brady. And that was in Chicago. He had the most success because he took the football, bam, snapped it out of his hands, bam, out to his receivers. Drew Brees can do the same thing, take a page out of Brady's book, and I think the Saints will spread him and shred him with the quick passing game, getting the ball out quickly. The Saints offensive line is elite, so they can block Mack and Hicks inside. The Saints, though, the concern is that if Trubisky can find fire, they are very vulnerable in the secondary. So the Bears will have a chance there. But I do believe that the Saints don't turn it over, and the Bears love to get turnovers. Most takeaways in a game per game. I think the Saints win 28-21 to take on the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Now it's time for my Super Bowl prediction. It's number 1 seed versus number 1 seed. I know it's boring. Dylan predicted the same thing, and if you haven't watched his predictions, go watch them. This game should be amazing. I think it would be high scoring, so much fun, and everything that the NFL is about at this moment. This would be a classic Super Bowl, and I think it comes down to coaching, turnovers, and experience. When you're looking at the Chiefs, I think they would likely torch the Saints secondary. The Chiefs will hit big play after big play after big play in this game. The Saints defense need to be conservative and force Mahomes to drive the football field. They cannot get in a track meet with the Chiefs. Even with their offense, you don't want to get in a track meet with the Chiefs. The Saints will have to play the same way the Patriots do. And I think the Patriots will have success, and then the Saints will take that game plan and use it to even greater success because they have just simply better players. They have Alvin Kamara at running back, who I think will torch the linebackers of the Chiefs in the passing game. You have Michael Thomas. I think he would have a big game. 2 weeks of prep for Sean Payton and Andy Reid would be amazing to watch these offenses. The Saints are in a dome, so they're going to be comfortable, but the Chiefs are very fast, so that helps them as well. The Saints defensive line, I think, will be the ultimate difference. They are dominant at times, and they can stop the run. So that means that they're going to have to force Mahomes to basically pass every time, I think. So I think the Saints would win this game. I think it would be an amazing game, but the Saints are the best football team in the NFL right now, and that's why I'm picking them to win the Super Bowl. My Super Bowl pick since March will remain here. The Saints win in the Super Bowl 38-34 over the Chiefs. Drew Brees will be named Super Bowl MVP. I hope you guys enjoyed this predictions video for the 2019 NFL playoffs. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more NFL and NFL playoff analysis. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Peace out.